Hey guys, and welcome to Ozzie Reviews, and welcome to June Q&A. Now we've got the fireplace going because it's freezing outside, guys, and you might be able to hear it in my voice. We'll start off with what's new and what's been happening here at Ozzie Reviews. I've come down with COVID. I thought it was just the flu, but about 4 days ago now, I basically woke up 2 a.m. and all my joints are just aching ridiculously, and fever and stuff like that. So I've only ever had the flu once before in my life, and this is pretty much the same. So I actually thought it was the flu. So then, I did one of the tests, and then, honestly, it just went bang, came up with the, the 2 lines that say I was positive. 4 days ago, I didn't have any coughing or anything on my chest, so to speak. It was more just the aching joints and just feeling not well. And then now that's sort of all gone, and now it's just gone to my sort of throat and chest and everything. So yeah, guys, I've got to stay inside for a bit, just till I get over this. So that's one of the things that's been happening. Also too, we had the merch sellout on all Ozzie Reviews merch up until June 30. We had a big 20% off sale there. Pretty much everything, like rifle bags, caps, all gone. We've got a handful, only a small amount of pistol bags, M4 bags, and also the Gen 2 shotgun bags left. So if you do want some of them, they are still available. Obviously not at that 20% discount anymore, because that was the deal going up to June 30. Also too, guys, we've got a couple of decent reviews coming up. I've reviewed the Ruger Ranch in 7.62 by 39, so that'll be up shortly after I release this Q&A. So that's all edited, all done. That's the one that takes the Mini 30 magazine, so a really interesting review, that one. I've also got the Surlyn TAC 12, obviously 12 gauge straight pull, the Benelli M4 copy. I'm actually having a look at that now, and I'm halfway through filming that as well. Okay, so that'll be up shortly. We've also got from Bighorn Armory, we've got one of their thumpers in 454 Cazul. So that's a very expensive lever gun, and something that there's not a lot of reviews of on YouTube. So I'm going to be pretty happy to release that one to you and give you my thoughts on it as well. Also, this month I'm expecting the Victor Precision 25 round magazine for the 22 Magnum, and also the 17 HMR. So if you've got a Ruger American, then keep an eye out for that, because I think this will be a very well received item for those of us who have got 22 Magnums and 17 HMR Ruger Americans. It'd be just great to have something other than the 9 round factory magazine, or even if you can get them, the 15 round Ruger magazine. So yeah, 25 rounds, I'm really looking forward to that. All right guys, so let's start off with this month's questions. Okay, so the first one I got here is from Nathan. He says, "Hey Ozzie, I'm going for my pistol license and will be able to soon apply. If I get my license approved, do you think there will be an issue with putting in a PTA for a 9mm if the shoots that I've completed have all been done with 22 LR? Well, no, mate, because when you put in for a PTA, you need to get a club letter if you do have a Cat H license, for target shooting. So that club has to give you basically an approval letter for the handgun that you're going for. So, I can't see any reason why a club wouldn't give you a approval letter, to purchase a 9mm handgun. Next question I got here is from John. He says, "G'day Ozzie, hope you're doing well." I wish I was doing well, John, but I'm getting there, mate. Are you able to give us a rundown on what projectile types are available and what are the pros and cons of each of them? For example, full metal jacket, ballistic tips, soft points, hollow points, etc., etc. There seems to be a lot of opinions regarding some of them, and if you could clear up some of the confusion, it would be much appreciated. Also, would you consider using target-led round-nose projectiles in 22 LR for hunting, or would you recommend sticking to hollow points? Cheers, John. Mate, I'll give you a basic rundown of it now, but I have done a beginner basics video on choosing the correct centerfire, ammunition, types, etc. So if you have a look at that video, that'll really explain it. Unfortunately, I only had a tree to actually shoot into at the time, but as I shoot through it, I use 3 different types of ammunition. Basically, full metal jacket, we've got hollow points and also, soft points. And I talk about when you've got like a full metal jacket, but then you've got something like a hollow point, which is a, rapid expanding projectile, as opposed to like a soft point, which is more of a controlled expansion. Okay, so they're the 3 categories that most of these come under. Like even when you're looking at your ballistic tips, a lot of them are rapidly expanding projectiles. They're designed so when it hits, it opens up very quickly. Okay, so more for light, thin-skinned game. Whereas, your soft points, your more controlled expansion is designed so it penetrates deeply into what you're shooting at there. And it's just a slow, controlled expansion, so it creates obviously deep penetration to get down to heart and lung and so forth on larger, heavy game. As for your 22 LR question, no, I wouldn't, because what happens with a 22 LR, if you're using, round nose, like, mate, usually it just punches straight through, small game, okay, and it just doesn't give that humane kill with them, because the projectile there just doesn't expand. It just goes boom, straight through, where the hollow point obviously does, creates that bigger wound cavity and obviously makes a more humane kill from there. So, but have a look at that video, mate. It's in my beginner basics series there, and it'll actually show you what I've just said, but also in practical terms, and you can see the difference of how like a full metal jacket as opposed to a hollow point, as opposed to a soft point, opens up, on timber, to give you a little bit of an idea. Next question I got here is from Chiller, and he says, not a gun question, but apparently a recession is coming soon this year. If our economy collapsed, do you think you're going to survive it? And what should we all do to prepare, in your opinion? Well, mate, this is a very open-ended question. I mean, am I going to survive it? Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure I will, just like I did in 2007 when we had a recession there. To me, I look at the housing market at the moment, and you can see, house prices have just been insane. Now, this was very similar in my view to what it was in like 2007, 2008. So what happened there was, you had all these astronomical house prices, but then what happened was interest rates started climbing, and they climbed very rapidly. And then what happened was you got to a point, it was a breaking point, and then that breaking point caused the collapse. And therefore there were people basically put out on the street because a lot of people didn't have income and work. And one thing that I find people seem to do, and I mean, they're a bit braver than I am in doing it, but they love borrowing beyond their means. Like, for example, they'll borrow to their max, say a set percentage rate of say 3%, right? But they know if an interest rate that goes up to 4 or 5%, it will then push them over the limit where they can't make their repayments. I couldn't live like that personally. So I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to feel it, and they're going to be on the street. I mean, let's have a look at what we've got at the moment, and it's really a global thing, is we've got astronomical prices for fuel, just food, normal basic supplies, and we've got a ammo shortage. There's problems with getting primers, there's shipping problems. Now, whether you want to blame that on COVID or there's stronger demand or whatever, the facts are that they are hard to get. So, mate, what it comes down to is this, I guess, in my view. I've always had the opinion or the mindset, I guess, of get what you can while you can. So, if you reload, for example, get extra primers. If you shoot factory ammo, get extra factory ammo and keep a good supply of it, so that when times are a bit more tougher, whether price increases or just scarcity, you just can't get that different ammo or whatever, then you're not going to be as affected as what other people are, because you're going to have enough on hand to be able to get you through. So I know your question in general was, not really about shooting, but just in general. But I think it's going to sort a lot of people out. I mean, a lot of people like to label and target people who put away extra as some crazy, like, doomsday type preppers. I don't agree with that at all. I look at it as common sense. I mean, here in the country areas, most of the farms here, when you look at food, we'll have about 3 months worth of food on hand. That's just what happens in country areas, Do they have 3 years worth of food? No, they don't, but they like to have that bit extra there just in case, they cut off with flooding or all sorts of natural disasters. So with the recession, though, that's definitely going to be a man-made disaster. And I think that there's going to be a lot of people that suffer, mate. So to answer your question, yes, I think I'll be fine, but I think there's a lot of people who are going to have a very, very harsh wake-up call, and it's not going to be pretty. Next question I got here is from Peter, and he says, "Hi Ozzie, I have an old 303 full wood that was my grandfather's. I'm intending on using it for pig hunting. Can you recommend a factory load for it?" Yes, mate. Look, there's a couple of good ones. If you look at Federal, the 180 grain soft points, they'll do the job. 180 grain soft points also from Remington. You can, if you want to save a bit of money, you can use or try PPU ammunition. They also have 180 grain soft point. The only thing that I'd probably steer a little bit clear of would be the full metal jackets. Look, I know it's a 303, and pretty much if you're using full metal jackets or whatever you're using, you hit a pig, it's going to go down. There's no two ways about it. However, I like to be a bit more humane with it. Full metal jackets just punch straight through, okay? If you've got soft points, they're going to have that controlled expansion there, create a big wound cavity, and obviously make them a more effective and humane kill. So that's how I'd go, mate. I'd go for any of those factory ammos in 180 grain soft points. Next question I got here is from Steve, and he says, "Hey Ozzie, did you see the mass shootings in Europe lately? What are your thoughts?" Yes, mate, I did. I saw the shooting in Norway, in Oslo. I think there's 2 or 3 people died there and about 14 others injured. Just a couple of hours ago, I posted about a shooting in Denmark in a mall there, where I believe 3 people are dead and there's another handful of people injured. Look, strict gun laws don't work to stop mass shootings. They don't work to stop people being violent. People either have that mindset or they don't. So let's look back at the Paris attacks. How'd that work out for them? Here in Australia, let's look at different shootings we've had here. We had a police officer killed a couple of years ago at Gatton, was shot with a full auto SKK. How'd the gun laws make any difference there? So, people go, "But Ozzie, we've got to do something." Well, yeah, but there's only so much you can do unless you blanket ban something outright so no one can have access to it. So all you can do, in my view, is simply put a check in place that will stop a criminal or someone who's mentally unstable from legally walking into a business and purchasing a firearm. That's all you can do. Other than that, you cannot really do anything else other than just ban it outright, because there will always be criminals, even then, getting a hold of firearms illegally. So it doesn't matter. You can ban this, you can ban that. How have bans worked for the government in the past? Let's be honest here. Let's just cut all the BS. Let's not even look at firearms. Let's look at other things. Drug trade. How's that going? People smuggling. How's that going? You see what I mean? You can only do so much. And that's where I draw the line, is when people want to just ban everything from licensed or law-abiding people from owning. I don't agree with it at all. You can have the basic safeguards in place, but you need to hold the person or the perpetrator responsible for their actions, not just hammer the hell out of every one of your citizens who enjoys that particular item, whether it be a firearm or something else. That's my thoughts on it. All right, guys, that concludes this month's Q&A. So thank you very much for watching. If you do want to be a part of it, guys, as I've said, you have to be a part of Patreon because my time is limited and only for you guys who support me in return. So now, guys, I'm going to rug up now and have a cold drink, I think, just to soothe this throat. And I'll be back on deck before you know it.